So, Shannon, in your opinion, who is the better leader, Michael Jordan or LeBron?
You know, Jenny, this is something that's very hard to quantify because normally what people say is that anytime you win, you're the best. Whoever the top dog is, they're the better leader than the top dog of the team that lost. But Michael Jordan said something very interesting at the end of segment 7. He says, if you have a problem with my leadership style, it's probably because you never won anything. But I have something here, Skip, you can't see it. It's about 22 inches tall, and it weighs about 7 pounds. And they normally hand these out to the winning team at the end of the season. Only the last team standing. Now, I have 3 of those. I also have something else. You can't see that, but the people at home, they can see it. So, in other words, I feel like I'm very qualified to chime in on this because I have won something. And so, for me, LeBron James' style would work better for me than Michael Jordan's style because I am an alpha male. And Michael's style, Michael being an alpha, I'm being an alpha, we're going to butt heads. Now, Charles Barkley said something interesting, I think it was a day ago or 2 days ago on the Dan Patrick. He said Mike knew what he was doing, picking on Scotty Burrell and the smallest guy on the roster, Steve Kerr. Now, everybody gonna say that's why Charles never won anything, but they never said a word when Charles said Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. They didn't say, well, Charles didn't win anything. How does he know what he's talking about? You chimed in, oh, yeah, look at Charles. And we all know Charles was a great player. Udonis Haslem also said, you know, Mike the greatest, but he called me a B or the H. Me and him gonna have to square up. And that's what most alpha males are going to do. Skip, LeBron's style would work best for me. And another thing, Skip, we gotta be careful. And I want people at home, I want you to understand, you gotta be careful because someone is in a position of authority, because someone is better at something than you, they have earned the right to talk to you less than. This is the way I operate, Skip. I call it like I see it. Fair is fair, wrong is wrong. When I was at Savannah State, Skip, I was the captain for 3 years. And anytime there was something that went on with the team, Coach Davis, who's the head coach, Brick McNeil, the offensive coordinator, and Joe Crosby, they didn't go to the coach's office. Guess where they came to discuss it? They came to Shannon Sharpe's room. You know why? Because everybody knew they was going to get a fair chance. Everybody knew I was going to call it right down the middle. I'm the best player, but I'm going to treat you the same, whether you're the second or third best player or you're the 28th, 29th best player. Fair is fair, right is right, wrong is wrong. And that's the way I was, Skip. Michael Jordan did this to people, Skip, like I said. For me, where was Michael Jordan the first 20 years of my life when I was having to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, when I was having to feed chickens, slop hogs, when I was going out into the woods with no running water, no indoor plumbing? Where was Michael Jordan to motivate me then? He was nowhere around. When my grandmother was sending me $5 a month at Savannah State, where was Michael Jordan to motivate me then? Now I'll make it to the ultimate. I get to the dance. And now you're going to tell me how I need to dance and what songs I need to dance to. Nah, bruh. I'm going to do my part. You do your part. But when you start disrespecting me, Skip, like I said, I love Michael. The fighting is not about because I dislike him. Fighting is because to gain my respect. So for me, LeBron James' style would have worked best for me because I'm an alpha and me and Mike's going to butt heads. Because if you think you can call me out of my name, that's not going to happen. I won't let you say anything to me Mary Porter didn't say to me. And she never called me those names. So Michael and I would have had a problem.
Shannon.
Just in case people at home, y'all forgot. That Lombardi. That old Lombardi. That's all it is. Skip on Lombardi.
I love you, man. But this documentary, The Last Dance, is not about Shannon Sharpe. You were not on the 1998 Bulls. You keep trying to make this whole story about Shannon Sharpe. And it's about the greatest player who ever played any team sport, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. It's about what he did with his team in his town in his day and era that he owned. And again, you try to project yourself onto his team. You weren't on his team. It just doesn't matter. I get you and I get him. I know you both. And I'll give you this. You two would have butted heads. You would have clashed. Although it's highly possible he wouldn't have picked on you because you did not need picking on. You were self-motivated. You showed up every day to give it win at all costs effort and attitude that he preached and drove into the 98 Bulls. You already had it in you. You were born with it. You're still self-motivated in your workouts. So again, you might have blended in. Maybe there had been some point where he thought you could have given a little more, but he treated each player very, very differently. And to answer Jenny's first question, because I don't want to stray too far from the topic here, I do give LeBron some credit for his leadership capabilities, and I'll mention those in just a moment. But I'm sorry, when you force me to put LeBron as a leader in the same sentence with Michael Jordan as a leader, it's blasphemy. It's heresy. It's wrong. It's not fair. Michael Jordan was far, far beyond LeBron as a leader because, to me, Michael Jordan was the greatest leader / motivator we've ever seen in sports. And we're going to talk later in this show about a guy you played with, Ray Lewis, one of the great leaders ever. Shannon Sharpe was one of the great leaders ever. Tom Brady, one of the great leaders ever. But I can't put any of you three in the same pantheon with Michael Jordan because he was a force of nature as a leader. He was more of the coach of that team than Phil Jackson was the coach because Michael was the one who pushed all the buttons. And I want to drive this point home. Remember LeBron's infamous quote back in February of 2016? That night they had lost at New Orleans. He was still with the Cavaliers, obviously. And he complained to the media after the game, we, the Cavaliers, we're top-heavy as bleep. You said that, LeBron? You just trashed the 9 guys below Kyrie and Kevin Love and you at the top. It's the big three, and then you're top-heavy as bleep? Well, trust me on this. The 98 Bulls were top-heavy as bleep. Scottie Pippen was not an alpha. He was a follower, not a leader. Michael Jordan taught Scottie Pippen how to win, just the way I believe that Dwayne Wade helped teach LeBron how to win his first year in Miami. And then we look at Dennis Rodman. He was a psycho. He was a nutcase. Michael had to ride herd on Dennis Rodman constantly to keep him between the lines. And Dennis was afraid of Michael Jordan, and he did ultimately what Michael said to do, and that's how they won championships together. And Tony Kukoc was a softer Euro kind of a player and a sixth man. He's talented, but he needed Michael to show him the ropes, to drive home to him that you've got to be tougher. Michael toughened up Tony Kukoc in practice. And dare I start down the rest of the roster? We've been talking about Scotty Burrell and Stevie Kerr and Bill Winnington and Luke Longley and Joe Klein and Randy Brown and Judd Buechler. I just named the rest of the roster. Shannon, they're just guys. It's a whole bunch of guys. Michael took that roster and said, bam, I'm going to show you, blah, 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 I can't say the words, how to do this. We're going to win at any cost. And if I have to ridicule you, if I have to shame you, if I have to make it hell for you, I will do it. I will pick on your weakness and I will make it a strength. And you will contribute for me when it is time to contribute. And they all did. Everybody I just named all had little big contributions to the Last Dance Bulls' last championship. It was superb leadership, but it was merciless. It could be ruthless, maybe even heartless. But we heard Scotty Burrell. We read in the interview with USA Today the other day saying, I needed it. It was great for me because I knew deep down Michael liked me. He did. He liked Scotty Burrell. He liked all of them. And they knew it. Not one of them has said, I hate Michael Jordan. They've all participated in the documentary that Michael has last say over because they still hold him in awe. Do they love him? well, I don't know if they love him. They're just in awe of him. But they definitely don't hate him because they know that he did right by them. He did the right thing for them. Steve Kerr said, I stood up to him and I won him over. And Michael said in the documentary, he won my respect. And then Steve Kerr made big shots for Michael Jordan. Now we get to LeBron. And Shannon, I'm going to give you this on LeBron. His strength is he's a great passer. He's still the best passer in basketball. So that's a good leadership skill because just the mere fact that he can pass the basketball to his teammates makes them all feel like they're more involved. They feel special because, my goodness, LeBron just passed me the basketball because he thinks I'm open. I'll give you that one. And I'll give you this one. As silly as it might seem, LeBron has gone out of his way to create and to practice, I guess, his pregame handshake rituals with each player, all the way down to Quinn Cook. They all have a handshake ritual that they do before tip-off and when they do something great during the game. And I love to watch it because LeBron wants to be loved. He's going to go out of his way to spend a lot of time creating those handshake rituals, practicing them because they're not easy to do until they know them because he wants everybody to love him. Michael didn't care if anybody loved him. Michael motivated more out of fear. But here's the bottom line. LeBron also wants to be friends with everybody he plays. He wants to fraternize. He wants to be business partners with Draymond, who called him the B word during Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The one word you can't say. He crossed the line, and the next thing I know,
how about skip timeout? Oh, that's the word you can't say, but Michael Jordan can say it to Scotty Burrell. See, that's the problem that Skip, we got to be careful again. See, just because you're the greatest player and you win a lot doesn't make you the greatest leader. See, you've conflated the two. If that's the case, Bill Russell is the greatest leader because he won 11 championships. So he has to be in 12 years? So he has to be the greatest leader. You want to conflate Michael Jordan is the greatest player. They won 6. He's the greatest leader of all time. Well, if that's the case, it should be Bill Russell. Skip, there is no difference because someone is great. And I'm not trying, and I've never said, when we originally started talking about this, it was about Horace Grant being denied to eat a meal. I said it couldn't be me. I've never tried to make it about me. I've never told anyone I'm as great. I'm not even close to. No, Skip. Michael Jordan said, if you have a problem with the way I'm motivated, you've never won anything. I've got a problem. I got 3 Lombardis to show I've won something. Where can you go? Is there a flea market? Is there a yard sale I can go get 3 of these from? So clearly I've won something. All I'm saying is, Skip, I'm not trying to say I'm great as Michael Jordan. I'm saying his style of leadership wouldn't have worked for me, and it wouldn't have worked for some. You try to say, well, LeBron is a lover, not a fighter. LeBron didn't want to be, Michael didn't care about being loved, but he wanted to be respected. That's why he did what he did. Skip, bullying is about taking a position of strength, be it title, be it you're bigger than I am, and you try to take whatever you use that on someone of weaker, be it size, be it stature. If you think Michael Jordan was not Michael Jordan, he would have done that because, like Charles said, he had selective prosecution, Scotty Burrell. So basically, by what you're doing, Skip, by picking on Steve Kerr, by picking on Scotty Burrell and some of the others, well, you're not me, you're not Dennis Rodman, and you're not Scottie Pippen. So in other words, without saying it, he's saying it. That's all I'm saying, Skip. You're trying what you're trying. No. This was never, all I'm doing was I was asked a question about certain situations. And I'm telling you, and everybody, I say, well, what's the difference between Draymond? Well, it's Draymond and Michael Jordan. People, be careful. When you allow someone that's in a position of strength or you feel they have more than you and you allow them to talk, you're subjecting yourself. You're opening yourself up to things that you shouldn't do, you shouldn't have to take. Because it's funny that I listen to people and I see people in all these times, well, you'll allow Michael to talk to another man in a way you would never allow a man to talk to you. So I'm trying to figure out how, if it's acceptable for Michael to talk to someone, it should be acceptable for you to talk like that. And then, hell no, I'm not going to let him talk to me like that. Of course not. All I'm saying, Skip, right is right, wrong is wrong. That's it. Don't say, well, you're trying to compare yourself to Michael, because I've never tried to compare myself to Michael. But I feel I can chime in, because Michael say people that have a problem haven't won anything. Well, I got 22 inches and 7 pounds that says I won something.
Okay, back to Draymond. Draymond got sick and tired of LeBron belly aching during Game 4 of the 2016 Finals, and he finally said, "You're a B." He screamed it so loud that Kiki Vandeweghe, who presided over NBA suspensions, heard it in the third row, and he finally said, "Okay, that's enough of that." And Draymond got suspended, as we all know, for Game 5 back in Oakland. And yet, did Draymond call LeBron the B word to motivate him? No. He called him the B word because that's what he thought he was. That's what he was acting like. And the next thing I know, LeBron has hired Draymond and brought him into the business. They're business partners the next offseason. What? You're kidding. The bridge should be burned. He crossed the line.
Michael Jordan called Scotty Burrell a B.Y., Skip, because he thought he was soft. That's the same definition. They're not different definitions according to Skip. Skip.
No.
Draymond called Skip. Listen, no. Skip. He called him that because he thought it was soft. If somebody calls you that, it doesn't matter the context. It doesn't matter the setting. Do you understand what that meaning is? He thought LeBron was soft. Michael Jordan thought Scotty Burrell was soft. There's no different meaning because one player is great.
Two of these guys, Jordan and Burrell, are teammates. And Michael decided, I have to toughen him up because I'm going to need him. And Scott Burrell said it did not offend him that he was calling him that word and the garden tool word in practice because it was a daily occurrence. Michael didn't call the other players those names. He called Scotty Burrell. And I told you, what was the result? Game 3, it was a crucial game at New Jersey, packed house, roof coming off the building, Brendan Byrne Arena. I was there in the front row, and Scotty Burrell comes off the bench and plays 24 minutes in that game and scored 23 points. Michael pushed the right button, and today, Scotty says, I wouldn't have my job as the head coach of Southern Connecticut State University if not for Michael Jordan. He pushed me. He made me who I am.
First of all, Skip, he's talking like he got the head job at Duke or North Carolina or Kansas. So stop. Stop.
He has a job.
So I want you to stop. Exactly. So, but stop pretending like, oh, I got this prestigious job at this prestigious university. Hold on. You keep saying that Draymond and LeBron became friends. Scotty Burrell got barraged by this word on a daily basis, and he's on the man's documentary, kiki-kikiing, smiling and laughing. Where's that funny? A man calling you that word. So, Skip, hold on. So one guy was saying it to motivate him, so it's okay. Yeah, you a B. And the other guy said it out of anger and frustration, but that's a no-no. Both are a bridge too far for me. And see, for you, you need to understand that.
Okay. And now let's look at LeBron. Michael Jordan lived for confrontation. He would get right in your face and challenge your weakness and try to make it your strength. LeBron James is a passive-aggressive leader. He doesn't want to confront anybody. Remember the infamous confrontation, quote-unquote, with Kevin Love that first year back in Cleveland when Kevin was talking about, I didn't know I was trying to fit in, and my teammates told me, try to fit out. Don't try so hard. Just be yourself. And then LeBron tweets about, you got to try to figure out how to fit in, not fit out. It was like a tweet. Why didn't you go talk to the man's face? Because you're not confrontational. You're not a natural-born leader. And what did David Blatt say, the guy who was the head coach at that time? David Blatt said that Michael Jordan was more focused on the us, while LeBron, whom he coached, was more focused on the I. That's the difference right there. LeBron, why did Kyrie leave? He said LeBron was more focused on stats than on team success. Oh, I'm sorry, Shannon. This guy was in a league of his own as a leader.
You see what you do? Anytime someone says something negative about LeBron, and they said it in The Last Dance, you say nothing. It's not about them. It's about Michael. But the moment I say something, Shannon, you're trying to make it about you. It's not about David Blatt. David Blatt is not Phil Jackson. He's not Pat Riley. He's not Coach Albach. He's not Pop. So I disregard anything that he says because that's what you do.
He's internationally famous.
Skip, stop it. You and I both know. If it's a soccer coach and he's international, okay. But when it comes to hoops, it's right here in America. Stop that. It's just like baseball. The guy that had more home runs, I think his last name was he had 800 home runs. Nobody mentioned him when it comes to home runs. It's Hank Aaron. It's Babe Ruth. It's Barry Bonds. So stop that, Skip. You know better than that. But my problem here is where I'm pushing back on you is that anytime somebody says something negative about LeBron, it's the gospel. But the minute somebody pushes back against something about Michael Jordan, you making it about you. It's not about you. Why is that? LeBron is open to criticism. But if somebody criticizes Michael Jordan, you never won. You don't know what it's like to be a winner. You're not a leader. Man, miss me with that.
Well, miss me with what LeBron did that last game of that finals at Oakland that year when game one, he had them dead to rights. He had the hottest hand outside the paint I've ever seen. You know, I know, and he knows he should have pulled up on Steph Curry and taken the Michael Jordan Memorial last shot of that game to win it. They're down one. It had been sink or swim, do or die, and he passed to George Hill. Then JR lost context, lost his mind. And what did LeBron do? He went over and sat 8 feet away from his teammates, pouting, saying, I don't want to associate with them. You can't call that leadership. Jordan would have never done anything like that. They had an overtime in game one at Oakland, and he quit on them. He pouted and quit and wouldn't shoot the first 2.5 minutes of overtime.
Michael Jordan passed the ball to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr makes the shot. That was a great pass by Michael. He passed the ball to Paxson in game 5. He makes shots. They win. And everybody's talking about LeBron passed the ball to George Hill. He gets fouled, missed a free throw. LeBron passes the ball to Kyle Korver. He misses. Why would he? Hold on. Skip. Michael, you make it seem like every shot Michael took. You remember the double nickel game? He passed the ball to Bill Weddington. Right, Skip? Isn't that what he did? So stop this notion about Michael Jordan.
Wide open dunk.
So what about a layup? He had a wide open layup, and Klay Thompson grabbed him and almost and snatched him down. So stop that, Skip. Stop. Look, nobody's trying to diminish Michael Jordan, but you think everything Michael Jordan did was great. No, it wasn't.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.